All right, everyone, welcome back. So our 2023-2024 season previews continue on today with the San Jose Sharks. And the Sharks, yeah, they're not going to be very good, if we're being honest. They are probably not going to be a good team this coming season. When you just look at the standing, you look at this overall team, it's just not going to be a fun year. And last year wasn't a fun year either, and neither was the year before that, or the year before that, or maybe even the year before that. It's been a while. But regardless, this is expected to be probably the worst year for San Jose in this rebuild that they're going through. They have a very substantially weak roster now that Erik Karlsson has departed. In 22-23, though, they went 22, 44, and 16 for 60 points. They were 29th in the NHL, and they missed the playoffs. So, obviously, it was a bad season. We knew that. And it got worse when they traded away Timo Meier, obviously. But there are some young guys who could come up into this lineup and play decent. They signed some solid guys, traded for some solid guys. But regardless, this team is, they're going into that stage where they're going to be awful next season to watch, if we're being brutally honest. San Jose's key departures and key arrivals goes as follows. They obviously lost Erik Karlsson, who I actually forgot. I don't know how the hell I forgot Karlsson. But regardless, they also lost John Gadjovic, Noah Gregor, Evgeny Svechnikov, James Reimer, Steve Lorentz, Jeffrey Veal, and Aaron Dell. So those are the guys that they lost on the main roster there. Apart from Karlsson, not too big of losses. Mainly a lot of depth players, if we're being honest. Besides a guy like James Reimer, who was basically the starting goalie or the backup goalie, whoever you want to call him. Steve Lorentz, two solid bottom six guys. Svechnikov was a good second line winger on San Jose, but obviously he's now over in Europe as of right now. And of course, Karlsson had a great year as a defenseman, and he was what kind of boosted San Jose to be a somewhat decent team at a 29th in the NHL. I think if they didn't have Karlsson, or Karlsson didn't have that good of a year, I think they would have been worse, if we're being honest. And that is why they'll probably be very bad this coming season, if we're being honest. Arrivals. You look at Anthony Duclair, Mike Hoffman, Jan Rutta, Mikael Granlund, and Filip Zadina are new guys that have been added to this roster that will play on the team. So, of course, they're interesting, definitely for sure. I like the acquisitions of Duclair, Rutta, Granlund, and Hoffman, because those guys are players that come deadline time, you could move them. You could for sure move Duclair, who's on a 1-year contract at the trade deadline, acquire maybe a second or even a first-round pick, depending on what team you're talking about. Hoffman, you could do the same. Jan Rutta, solid top 4 defenseman, could do well on a playoff team. He's a 2-time Stanley Cup champion, by the way. Mikael Granlund there from Pittsburgh, and then Filip Zadina there too, giving Zadina, a young guy, a chance. There are some notable young guys here in this lineup that could make a difference for sure. You look at your projected lineup here via the Daily Faceoff, and these are not made by me. It's the Daily Faceoff, and these lines were weird, if I'm being honest. Granlund is not even in this list for the main lineup, which I thought was kind of weird. I believe he might be hurt, but I'm not really too sure. I didn't make these lines, so don't come at me. First line, Barabanov, Tomas Hertl, and Fabian Zetterlund. Second line, Mike Hoffman, Logan Couture, and Anthony Duclair. If I'm being honest, Duclair is going to be on that first line above Zetterlund. But regardless, that is a relatively weak top 6. That is not a strong top 6 at all. It might be the worst in the league. Tomas Hertl, Logan Couture are probably the only positive guys, and Duclair, of course. Apart from that, the rest of the guys are just meh, to be honest with you, honestly. So, yeah, I think some of these guys playing those top line minutes with San Jose, they probably will play better. Or playing on those top lines, they probably will get a better opportunity. They probably will play better. Guys like Duclair, Hoffman, Barabanov, and such. Them playing top 6 minutes is definitely going to help them out in their point projection and could make them a better player. But honestly, it's not a strong top 6 whatsoever. The bottom 6 is just yikes. You got Jacob Peterson, Nico Sturm, and Filip Zadina as your third line. And then Oscar Lindblom, Thomas Bordeleau, and Kevin Labanc as your fourth line. So that is, third line's not terrible. It's a young line, but it's not a terrible line. Nico Sturm, interesting there. Filip Zadina, hopefully on a team like San Jose, he can get a better jump and play better. Of course, that's what we're hoping to see. Peterson traded from Dallas to that team, so of course Not a bad move there. And on the fourth line, Borderlow could get up as high as even like third line. I think he could get over Nico Sturm at points there in the season. That's possible. Lindblom, solid guy there. I've always liked Lindblom as a Philadelphia Flyers fan. But regardless, and then LeBanc there too. I'm kind of shocked he was on the fourth line. I don't know. Those lines are weird. Obviously, these lines aren't going to be the lines come training camp, but these are just a projected depth chart. And then for some extra players, you got Giovanni Smith, Ryan Carpenter, and Luke Kunin as other guys there too. But I believe Kunin may be hurt, so maybe put Granlund in there. But yeah, that's your forward core. That is a weak forward core, if we're being honest. It is not a strong one whatsoever, and it's definitely going to affect a lot of the things San Jose can do come the season. And the blue line as well is, Jesus, it's bad. Mario Ferraro and Jan Rutta as your first pairing. I will say this, Jan Rutta is underrated, so is Mario Ferraro, but still not the biggest ideal first pairing you want. Marc-Edouard Vlasic and Matt Benning. Then you got Josh McDonald. I thought it was Andrew McDonald when I first saw that, and Radim Simek. And then you got Kyle Burrows and Nikita Kuznetsov as another guy there on your defense. So yeah, honestly, that's a weak defense, but you're in the worst year of this rebuild, so it will get better this coming season. They got guys developing down low in the AHL and other junior leagues there too. Obviously, a guy that I actually even forgot about mentioning that isn't even in this lineup list is William Eklund. I don't know how the hell the Daily Faceoff didn't think of putting William Eklund at least on the third line maybe, or even just an extra player, but the fact that he didn't add him on here is wild. But regardless, he should hopefully be making the jump over to the NHL. If not, he'll be in Barracuda. He'll be in with the Barracuda, so he won't be too far away. Barracuda play in the same city as San Jose, so not a huge deal there. And then for goalies, you got Kaapo Kähkönen, Mackenzie Blackwood, and Eetu Mäkiniemi as your goalie tandems there. Obviously, that's relatively weak. Mackenzie Blackwood, obviously a new acquisition. I forgot to mention him in the key arrivals. But Blackwood, obviously a player there who had some really bad years with New Jersey. But before that, he had some positive years. So honestly, I don't know what to expect out of Blackwood because the team's going to be bad this year. Maybe he has a good season. Who knows? He'll be probably sharing the net with Kähkönen. So, of course, we'll find out. And that's the biggest X factor for me is the goalies. The goalies could really help out this team a lot and make this team seem a lot better than they actually are. If Blackwood kind of bounces back here with San Jose or Kähkönen plays better. But honestly, I doubt that happens because just the blue line is so weak in front of them. They might get Berardi with shots, and this could be an absolutely awful San Jose Sharks team if we're being honest. It could really not be a good year. And the biggest question for them is the worst in the NHL. That is my biggest question facing the San Jose Sharks right now. Are they going to be the worst team in the NHL this coming season? Yes, it's possible. They really very well could be. But honestly, there's going to be a lot of teams competing for that. Macklin Celebrini seems like the number one consensus 2024 pick. So that's like what San Jose is aiming for there. But regardless, that is your San Jose Sharks. Your point projections goes as follows via the Hockey News' Fantasy Guide. And the Hockey News' Fantasy Guide is actually outdated because Erik Karlsson is still on this roster, and it has him having 77 points. So I'll have to factor that in when we do Pittsburgh's in a few days. But regardless, number one is Logan Couture with 60, Tomas Hertl with 58, Barabanov with 51, Duclair with 46, and Eklund with 40. So obviously there, Eklund would probably fit in as a winger on the second line, if we're being honest. I'm shocked that they didn't even put him in the lineup, the daily faceoff. I think it's a shame, but regardless, that is your 2023-2024 preview for the San Jose Sharks. One more thing, sleeper or bust. Almost forgot about that. I was saying that, and I'm like, oh wait, sleeper or bust. The Sharks are sinking, and there's nothing Tomas Hertl can do about it. He's a top center on a rebuilding team with no elite wingers, and despite his reputation for scoring, he potted 30 goals just twice as he enters his 11th NHL season. So Hertl there, going to be an interesting guy, probably riding that first-line center spot for sure, so we'll find out. But now, that does it for your 23-24 season preview for the San Jose Sharks. Not a playoff team, but this is going to be the worst year of that rebuild, and they're going to build their way towards a much better team for sure. But anyways, let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, subscribe down below. I really appreciate it. The next one we're doing is the Edmonton Oilers, so I'm excited for that one. But anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.